We're live. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. How are you this evening? What a day I've had today. Don't know what's going on in your world, but big things going on here in the mini castle. So I'm pleased to report that the finance eventually came through, the additional finance that I need to finish the project off, because obviously it's costing me an arm and a leg and more, and a pound of flesh and personal guarantees for everything. So yeah, it's been a big day today because the finance came through and I had to pay, think about this for a minute, £70,000 worth of invoices this morning and this afternoon throughout the day today, so that everybody's paid up to date and in advance for some of the work that's yet to be completed. So I've been shopping for lights this afternoon and furniture. So I like spending money. I don't like borrowing it, but it's only temporary. Anyway, I hope your day's been a whole lot better than that. So tonight, I'm going to be talking to you about something that could be perceived as negative. Inaction. I don't normally put a negative slant on anything that I talk about, but that's what I'm going to talk to you about tonight. So for those of you that are just joining and don't know who I am, or you're on some of the other platforms, I am Mandy Nicholson, so it says there, and I am the Creative Genius Consultant. I'm an artist, I'm an author, and I help creative women to launch, grow, and scale their businesses and make more money. So I said I was going to talk about inaction. So inaction is a lack of action. Basically, if you look at the dictionary definition, that's what it is. So have you ever found yourself, have you sat down in front of your computer or your laptop and found that you just don't know what to do next? You're paralyzed. You're sitting there and you know you've got to work on your business, but you just don't know what to do next. So much is going on in your mind, but you feel almost paralyzed by the amount you've got to do, and you know you should be busy, but it's actually causing you to not take action. And I really genuinely believe that what sits at the bottom of that are a couple of things. Firstly, fear of how big a job you've got ahead of you, fear of the comparison to others, fear of maybe your own perceived inadequacies. But what also sits at the bottom of that is overwhelm. We overwhelm ourselves. Going into business is a really big thing. It's a big thing. You are the chief everything officer. You do all the tech, all the creative stuff. You clean the place, you do the dishes, you sweep the floor, you clean the toilet, you do everything. When you start out, you are the chief everything officer. That in itself, that enormous responsibility that you have as a business owner, can cause an enormous amount of overwhelm. And that's why I chose to talk about inaction. Because it's also linked to mental health issues. So if you suffer from anxiety anyway, and you've gone into business, you're very brave. I'm just going to say you're very brave and courageous, and you shouldn't think you're anything else. But, people do suffer with anxiety and other mental illnesses. Maybe you've got ADHD or something like that. I know people who have that are in business. And sometimes there can be a trigger that just turns you into that inaction state, the inability to move forward with your business and not knowing what to do next. And there are some positives around inaction. I'm going to start with that, and I can extract the positives out of absolutely anything. So I'm going to start with that. I'm going to start by talking about the positives around inaction, and then some of the things that you can do if you find yourself in that state of being paralyzed and not knowing what to do next, because that's really what I show up for, to help you move on a little bit in your business. So first of all, there is strategic inaction. Sometimes inaction can serve us. So what is strategic inaction? Have you ever, maybe you're up against somebody for a pitch, Imagine you're an artist and you're pitching to get your work in somebody's home versus somebody else. And you're both speaking to the potential client, and sometimes strategic inaction is allowing somebody to keep talking when you know that they are talking BS and that the person listening to them has lost all engagement with them. So strategic inaction can be just keeping quiet, standing back, and letting someone talk themselves into a corner. So that's when inaction can be positive for you. Then there's the last responsible moment in action, and that's waiting for others to run with new technology or new products so that you can see how they work before you actually make the decision to use them. Or somebody's got a product similar to yours and you're watching them take it to market and market it before you launch yours. So that's the last responsible moment in action, and that can serve you. That can serve you in your business. And then there's the natural path. Yeah, the natural path is standing back and allowing something to evolve. So an example of that is if you've got your kids and there's two kids and they're in the playground and they're arguing, and you know that letting them argue and fight is actually going to teach them something if you let it run its natural course. This can work with team members or colleagues in the workplace. Somebody's at each other's throats, standing back and allowing, taking inaction, doing nothing, allowing that natural flow can actually serve you. So it's not always a bad thing. So there are positives that can be associated with an action. It's not just laziness, it's not just idleness, and it's not just you being unable to take action. Because sometimes when you get into that state of sitting in front of that laptop, being unable to do anything, not knowing what to do next, what happens after that is you start beating yourself up for being stupid, for not taking the action that you know you should be taking in your business, or not doing what you think you should be doing. And when you start to beat yourself up, you go down this dark spiral. So you've gone from being paralyzed and being overwhelmed to then talking yourself into a worse situation. And I know this happens a lot with creatives because we are so up and down. We're high one moment and low the next. And then if you take that low and take it further down, it can be really devastating from your business. So let me know if you've ever, in the comments, let me know if you've ever experienced this. If you experience it on an occasional or a regular basis, let me know, because we're all human, and understanding this is really important. So how do you combat this when it starts to show up for you and it starts to impact your business? You don't have to do anything big and drastic. So the first thing I'm going to do is say to you that when you're sitting in front of that laptop or standing in front of your easel and you can't do any work and you're feeling paralyzed and you're feeling like that, you need to have a go-to list of things that you can do on automatic pilot, things that you need to be reminded of when you are in that state. Because sometimes going to do mundane things that we do repetitively that will actually make a positive impact on our business, and having that list there can be really useful for you. I use it myself. All right. So you don't have to be like, at the bottom of the pile. You don't have to be anything. Use these techniques to help you. So for instance, you could have a list that says, this is what to do when I'm facing the I don't know what to do in action state. All right. Go and have 5 groups that you like and enjoy, and go and engage in them. So that's on the top of your list. Go and engage in 5 groups. Just go into the groups, see what conversations are happening, and join in. By the time you've done that in 5 groups, you're going to feel a whole lot better and like you've done something. And that's not going to have a detrimental effect on your business at all, because you are building relationships. So put that on the top of your list. Next, and I've written a few things down here, so I'm going to use my bit of paper. Go and have 3 conversations in Messenger. Think about somebody that you haven't spoken to for ages, that you've met in a networking event or you've met online. And just go and say, hey, I was thinking about you. How are things going? Go and have 3 conversations in Messenger. Again, you are building relationships in your business. It's not going to have a negative effect for you. Send birthday wishes out to 3 people. Facebook tells you people that have got birthdays. Send happy birthday out. Simple as that. Go and do that. Have it on your list. Take a break and do something physical. That's the next thing you're going to put on your list. Go and have a walk around the block. Make a herbal tea. When you come back, go and have a walk around the block. Get some fresh air in your lungs. Go and do something physical. It will change your mental state. Even if you don't really feel like doing that, even if you are battling anxiety and you are battling this paralysis that comes with inaction, stepping away from whatever it is that's causing you to do that and go and get in some fresh air. And it seems really simple, doesn't it? Put it on your list. Go and have a walk around the block. So you've now got a few things on your list of things to do when you enter this state. Go and have a look at what you achieved last week. Review what you did last week. You will have done something last week, and in there, find a win. And remember how it felt when you did that positive thing, that win, the thing that made you feel good. And think about how you can incorporate that in the week to come. So review your previous week and look at the week ahead and see what you can plot into it. That doesn't need to take ages. That can be a 15-minute job to sit down and just have a look at what you did last week and what you're going to do this week, right? None of this needs to be really big stuff. So when you've identified your wins, think about how you can create more. And I'm going to take you back to having the conversations, because the conversations that you go and have in the groups or in Messenger could end up as really big wins. And I'm going to give you an example of that in a minute. Go and find 5 new groups or pages that you like. And you don't have to do all of this just on Facebook. So if you're on LinkedIn, go and find 5 new people that you like the look of that are potentially your ideal clients. Go and add some people to your network. Build your network. Do some engagement. Go and engage on 3 other people's. Go and tweet. Go and share a tweet. Go and retweet something. Look at all of your platforms. If you're spending all your time on Facebook, go and spend half an hour on LinkedIn. These are the things that you can put on your list. Go on to LinkedIn for half an hour. Go and engage on Instagram. Go and engage on Twitter. Go and retweet something. Think about the things that, all of those things, they seem really small. They seem really small, but actually they can be really big and get you some really good traction in your business. So remember, inaction happens to us all. I have found myself at times sitting here thinking, right, what do I do next? And the important thing is to learn from those moments and when they happen. That never happens to me now because I have my diary planned. I've got my list of things to do when it looks like I've got nothing else to do and I don't know what I'm doing. It's about managing yourself and managing your states, because as a creative, your state, your psyche changes all the time because you're an ideas person. It takes a lot of energy to be creative because your mind's going all the time. It's going at 100 miles an hour and you're coming up with new ideas, and then you're questioning yourself and second guessing yourself. Should I be doing that instead of what I'm doing? Would I make more money doing that? Should I stick with what I've got? So you're constantly second guessing and questioning yourself. This takes a lot of energy from you. It really does. And that's why sometimes you end up in this inaction state. So inaction is normal. You are not crazy. It happens to all of us. It's okay. Yes, it can be linked to mental health conditions. Yes, it can be linked to overwhelm. No, it does not have to mean that that is the end for you in your business and wherever you are at right now. Sometimes having a conversation with someone is all you need. So I wanted to pop in tonight and just remind you of that, because nobody talks about things like this. You know, they'll be talking about the same old thing, funnels and sales and stuff like that. But these are the human things that happen that stop us in our tracks, in our businesses, and stop us moving forward, that we actually wonder about and wonder if we're crazy and wonder if we're the only one, and talk ourselves into all sorts of dark corners with it when it happens. So you are not crazy. You are not the only one. You are part of a huge community of women who often feel like you do. You are not alone. But learn how to manage yourself in a really positive way, and use inaction as a positive sometimes. Yeah, use those 3 things that I said. So you've got strategic inaction, last responsible moment, and the natural path, all really great ways to use inaction. Doesn't always have to be a negative. And if there's a positive to be extracted out of anything, I am going to find it. Anyway, let me know if that helped you tonight. Drop something in the comments. Tell me where you watched from, whether you were live, whether you replay. I will be back next Tuesday night with more juicy goodies. And I think next Tuesday night, I have got an amazing interview with one of my awesome clients who is helping people in a really specific way. So, and I love doing interviews because it gives me the opportunity to not speak all the time, which is great for everybody. So join me next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Have a wonderful week. And remember, if you feel like that this week, get that list up on your wall and go and do those very simple things to keep moving you forward. Thank you for listening. See you in a week.